This Lit Circle presentation is about the novel Too Bright to See by Kyle Lukoff. The members of this group are Olivia, Sarah, Chloe, Amanda, and myself, Michaela. To understand a little bit about the story, it's about an 11-year-old child named Bug who has never truly felt like herself. After the passing of her uncle at the beginning of the story, she begins a journey of finding her identity with the help of her uncle's spirit and other family and friends. Throughout the story, various experiences help her to find what she truly wants in herself and how she wants to show others who she really is. He then finally has the confidence to be who he is happily and show his true identity. To give you a better understanding about the author, Kyle Lukoff is a transgender author of multiple picture books. This novel, Too Bright to See, is his first novel that he has written, which has received the Newbery Honor Book Award, the Stonewall Book Award, and was a National Book Award finalist. He has always had a passion for books and has even worked as a bookseller and a librarian before becoming a full-time author.
The first character that we included is the main character, Bug and/or Tommy. Towards the beginning of the novel, Bug's uncle Roderick had passed away, which played a huge impact on Bug's experiences throughout the novel. When Bug realized that there was a ghost trying to communicate with her in her haunted house, she was a bit confused. Bug was also trying to prepare for middle school with her friends, which included sleepovers with makeup and doing nails. Bug did not feel herself during the time she spent with her and her friends. Bug could not even look in the mirror and see herself anymore. Bug had found LGBTQ plus and transgender community pamphlets in her Uncle Roderick's room under his bed. The transgender pamphlets stuck out to Bug the most when reading through the different pamphlets and their contents. Finally, when Bug went to a sleepover with her friends, she woke up and all of her hair was shaved. This was the first time that she was able to look in the mirror and see herself, but it wasn't herself. As Bug looked in the mirror, she realized that she was seeing himself in the mirror instead. Since he was able to look at himself finally and find himself, he chose to be called Tommy, which came from his Uncle Roderick. Tommy was finally able to find his true self through the action that his Uncle Roderick put him through. The second character that we chose to include was Tommy's Uncle Roderick. Uncle Roderick had passed away at the beginning of the novel, but was able to play such a strong and important role in Tommy's life and the realization of himself. Uncle Roderick did not pass over to be at peace yet because he knew that his niece at the time was not living the life that she was comfortable in. Uncle Roderick was able to make Bug dream of different situations that showed that she was not supposed to be choosing to live the life that she was uncomfortable in. Uncle Roderick pulled clothes out of Bug's drawers and opened his door to his bedroom to invite Bug in to discover LGBTQ plus and transgender pamphlets. Also, Uncle Roderick played an important role in shaving Bug's hair to show Bug who he really was and that he was actually Tommy. When Tommy finally realized who his true self was and accepted his true self, Uncle Roderick was finally able to be at peace in his death. The first two pictures shown represent Bug's house, which is an old house in Vermont that sits on lots of land. Bug is convinced that the house is haunted, and as the book says, it looks haunted, wooden, unpainted, weathered with time. There's an elaborately carved front door, peaked roofs just sitting out in all directions, tall windows with shapes flickering behind them. The porch wraps around front to back with rocking chairs that sometimes rock on their own. We are out in the middle of nowhere, and at nighttime, there's moonlight and starlight and nothing else. So then the time that this is occurring is summer break going into her middle school years. The book takes place during the day and at night, but at night especially, it is known to be haunted, and haunted occurrences are more apparent and then spook Bug. They also, as in the third picture, are around Moira's house a lot, and that is to represent her newer house. And then the mood throughout the story is mainly somber, dark, and sometimes scary with the haunted occurrences. But overall, it follows a journey of self discovery that goes through different stages until ultimately Bug is able to find himself and become his true self. The story is to realize what gender you are assigned at birth is not always the one that you actually are, and that it needs to be understood that that does happen, and this shows one person's story.
The first image, being a tombstone, represents Bug's Uncle Roderick, who had recently passed away from a terminal illness. Bug is introduced as an 11-year-old girl who lives with her mother and formerly lived with her Uncle Roderick before his passing. Uncle Roderick was an advocate for the LGBTQ community and also a member of the community, having a very large impact on Bug's mindset and beliefs. The following image shows nail polish and nails being painted. While preparing for middle school, Bug's friend Moira brings over a sleepover bag filled with nail polish and makeup, very different from the usual snacks and DVDs that the two would bring. Bug felt very unsettled upon seeing these items. Moira explained that girls in middle school wear makeup and they paint their nails so that the two of them should learn how to do it also. After going to the bathroom, Bug returns to a scream from Moira, who had stepped in broken glass from a shattered bottle of nail polish. The two were spooked as they had realized that the nail polish was last placed in Moira's bag. Bug realizes that this was probably a sign from the ghost, but isn't quite sure what the sign is. After several more signs from spirits, Bug believes that the ghost may be the spirit of Uncle Roderick. When Bug decides to use a Ouija board to communicate with Uncle Roderick, he responds by telling Bug to, quote, be you, unquote. Bug still doesn't understand Uncle Roderick's message at this point, but knows that he is the ghost that has been reaching out. After waking up from a nightmare to a razor full of clumps of hair, Bug realizes that his head was shaved. Upon looking in the mirror, Bug recognizes himself as a boy, instead of as the stranger that he'd been seeing in the mirror before. Bug finally realized that he is a transgender boy and is fully comfortable with himself once and for all.
This novel is told through the first-person perspective of the main character Bug and/or Tommy. The story is told through his experiences he has had through his relationships with the characters throughout the book. We are able to tell this by the use of words I and we.
We found the theme of this book to be individuality is key to being yourself, and being yourself is crucial to your true identity. It might be a journey with learning experiences, but keeping true to yourself will always be the most rewarding and make you the happiest in the long run. There may be people in your life who are able to help you find yourself, but they will never be able to tell you who you are. Only you can determine that. We chose these pictures because we thought that they really represented identity and being yourself and being different from everyone else because you are the only you. The first picture depicts a person who is lit up, and we thought that this picture really showed being yourself because it is different from everyone else, and when you're able to find yourself, you're able to be your happiest and it lights you up. And then in the second photo, we thought that this really depicted Bug or Tommy in the best way possible because throughout the story they or he does not think that what he sees in the mirror really depicts himself, and at the very end of the book, after he has shaved his head, he looks in the mirror for the first time after shaving his head, and he finally sees himself as who he was meant to be the whole time, recognizes himself for the first time. Or, as Oscar Wilde once said, Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. This book brought new things to light in my life. I now have an insight into what it may be like for someone who does not feel comfortable in their body. This was a great story and a fantastic book.
It's hard to imagine being stuck in the wrong body until you recognize how many people experience this feeling. We must put ourselves into the shoes of others before deciding who they should be.
Often we have an unclear mindset about who we truly are, but through our experiences we can find our true selves. This novel is able to show us many examples of how Tommy was able to find himself and be comfortable with himself in his life.
This is an amazing window into how someone may feel that is not fully comfortable in their body. It is also such a good story to read as a friend or family member who may be struggling with their identity. Not everyone feels the same, but this author provides a really good understanding of what they may feel.
This book tells a story of what so many go through. We need to understand others and not be quick to judge anyone, especially during the process of finding themselves.
The first activity that would be a fun way to incorporate this novel into the classroom is by creating an All About Me booklet. Each student would create a cover picture that would be an illustration of how they think others see them. Inside the booklet, there would be pages that include their interests, their goals, and even a story about themselves that they write. The last page is an illustration of how they want others to see them that they create as well. This can be completed throughout the story and throughout each chapter of the story that is read. They should draw the first illustration for the cover when they begin the book and fill out the information as they read the story. They would complete the final illustration when the book is finished to better understand how Bug feels. The prompts could be provided as ideas for what information they can include, but everything would be handwritten or typed by the student. The story would probably be of a difficult time in their life and what helped solve it or make it better, similar to how a situation Bug overcomes in the story and how it is solved in the end. The next activity that could be used, based off of the novel, is to create an illustration depicting each chapter of the book or an important scene from each chapter. This illustration should also include the thoughts and feelings about each chapter with the illustration that the student has. It allows students to reflect on their past thoughts and feelings as they continue to read the story as well. They should complete each illustration and write down their thoughts and feelings after each chapter is finished. They should also include the reasoning for the illustration they created and provide thoughts and feelings of the chapter through both their drawings and the explanations provided. Students can then reflect on their past thoughts and on how their views may have changed, especially as the story progresses and once the novel is finished.